Relax, the keyboard is off, the press box is closed, but the mic is just getting warmed up as the guardian of the blue paint turned writer is about to enlighten us. The show where the writer is fresh off the presses and the ink is not dry. For this week's show, have the Flyers devalued physicality and defense, or just plus minus? Welcome to the Hockey Writers Inc. Join Lance and Steel as we bring you all the latest on the Flyers.
Hi, guys, and welcome to another edition of the Hockey Writers Inc. I'm your host, Lance Green.
And I'm your co-host, SteelFlyers. And boy, oh boy, have we got another great one lined up for you this week. Holy smokes. This one is so hot, it's smoking. Yeah, boy. Two great articles here from Lance posted. One is going to be posted tomorrow. Well, actually today, or the day that this actually comes out. So the show's going to come out the same day that this next article, or one of the articles is going to come out, and then the article that's already come out, we're going to talk about first. So let's do that.
So you got a little bit of a sneak peek for sure on the latest article.
Yeah, man. So how about that? We're going to actually play a little time bandit here on you folks, and we're going to have this nice and recorded and all buttoned up just in time for when this article is released. So, but the first article we're going to talk about was just released here just the other day on FlyersNittyGritty.com, and why the Flyers should no longer devalue the plus minus stat. And that is actually the name of the show this week, is exactly that. Have the Flyers devalued physicality and defense, or just plus minus? So that very much ties in with this first article that we're going to talk about that we just posted on Flyers Nitty Gritty the other day. And I have to tell you something here, Lance, my friend. This is something that truly speaks the truth indeed. Yeah, truly speaks the truth indeed.
Yeah, for sure. I got a lot of good feedback from fans after writing this one, and I do think, as the article said, proofs in the article, guys. Look at it, comparing our roster to a roster that is, quintessential. The team to beat here is the Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning. So it just goes without saying that these guys are that much better suited to really line up and just play on any given night and win for sure.
On any given night. Yeah, I mean, all you have to do is watch them play in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay, they've done everything short of what they weren't supposed to do. They completely played very well against Florida. They dominated against Carolina, and now they're playing another rematch here against the Islanders.
But and when you look at that game with the Islanders, they didn't have the best of game, but their defensive side of it really
Found
helped
a way
them
to win.
Yeah, stay in the game and find a way to win. Maybe they shouldn't have won that game, but their defense allowed them to.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with you on that. Game 2 of the Tampa Bay Islanders series, that was definitely stole that game, that's for sure. But stole the game nonetheless. That evens up the series, so that's what's going to make this one of those grueling series as well too. So, but the reason why we're talking about them is because with this article, you go through a comparison of two teams. And the two teams that you go through are the Philadelphia Flyers and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now, I think we kind of already alluded to that, but the reason for this comparison is?
Yeah, just the plus minus stat, guys. I think it's been devalued over the years for sure. And, everybody now is in this kindler, gentler NHL, and they are going for offense. That's what they build around. That's what they want their teams to be. But the difference is the Flyers don't really have that offensive prowess that can just go out and win a game with that lack of defense now. So that's a big difference than a lot of clubs that you're still seeing playing on a nightly basis in these playoffs.
See, that's the key. That's the key right there, is what you said right there.
Right.
Those clubs are now playing. They're still playing now. You know what I'm saying? And if Flyers want to be one of those teams that are still playing now, they have to do some things to get to where, man, I can really appreciate the amount of research that you've done for this piece, Lance. I mean, it takes a lot to write a great article, and especially ones that are based on keen observations and willingness to speak about it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people don't really want to come out and just state facts, cold, hard facts that, may not look so good in the eyes of the team. Before COVID, I've been in the locker rooms. I've interviewed these players and have to face these players after writing these articles, but they are professional athletes, and I'm trying to do a job here too and report on what I'm seeing. I have a lot of years in and around hockey. I played it my whole life, and facts are facts. And this article clearly states some facts that the team is lacking. And the devaluation of this stat is something that has gone on in the league for quite some time. But it's becoming abundantly clear that certain teams like Tampa Bay and some others haven't gone away from that trend of old, where they do, value a guy that can get back and play that 200-foot game. And sadly, I really don't see why Chuck Fletcher isn't bringing more guys in to build this team in that sense that AV's system makes that kind of player thrive in. He's still bringing in just like Gustafson and all this other stuff. Point. He brings in these offensively minded players still. When that coach that he hired is defensively minded scheme that his system runs off of. And I think a great example of that is, look at what the system did for Tyler Pitlick. A no name, virtually when the Flyers traded for him for a bag of broken hockey sticks, pretty much. They got this player, and everybody was like, "Who?"
Oh,
but
no.
he did so great once he came to Philly, and he was a player, but down in Dallas and different stuff, you didn't really see too many games of theirs because they're on the West Coast. We see a lot of Capitals and Pittsburgh games and everything like that over here. So
ad nauseum.
So
I would actually be refreshed to watch a couple of the West Coast games just so I can watch some different bloody Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go off on a tangent like that. But
so some examples that we'll just point out. You can read the article, and it really gets into detail, guys. But some examples are just let's compare star to star, guys. The number one player that's paid on Tampa Bay's team right now is Kucherov, right? He gets paid over $8 million a year. So does Claude Giroux, right? Two highest paid players. Well, Giroux's been in the league twice as long as Kucherov. And he has a plus 39 rating. All right? Giroux does. Compared to Kucherov, that has a plus 128 rating. And half of the time that Claude Giroux.
He's only been in the league, and he missed all of last year, or all of this year for the most. He missed
the most part, until the playoffs.
He missed this whole regular season, being out with the surgery and the injury and everything. He's only been playing in the playoffs. I'll tell you what, man. See, that's why I completely can see where you're coming from, because I have to admit that when I started reading this article, I was blown away by these numbers. I mean, gosh, say it's not so, man. Is it really this bad? I mean, it is so like Tampa Bay is here and Philadelphia is like not even on the scale.
No, definitely not. And the players that Tampa Bay finds, okay, they've been a playoff team for quite some time, but they don't let that bother them drafting later. They go out and find different players, through trades and through just free agency, guys that went undrafted because of their size and different things
Oh
like
yeah.
that.
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
Pallet, their first line left winger, is a plus 132.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, Point is a plus 79. Um,
Yeah. But
Guys
see,
that been on that.
these are all those guys. See, these are all those guys that they went out and got.
Yes.
Right. And not only not only are you looking at these guys, Braden Point plus 79, and you look at even Anthony Cirelli plus 64.
Yeah.
Right. These were some of the guys that they brought in, Kilgorn. They brought in some of these guys to help this team become more physical, to help this team become more of have that more gritty physical presence.
For sure.
But not only that, but they're also these huge responsible plus players.
Yeah. And to go with that list, if you want to add to it, Yanni Gaudry is a plus 48, who they found playing in the QMGHL as an undrafted player, along with Tyler Johnson, who's a plus 84. He was an amazing small undersized center that only sat there and won awards for being a best defensive player in the league before they found him. But on top of that, they brought in the right players too. They look at their lineup, and they see at the end of the season, at the deadline, they see, hey, what do we need? Okay. In the past, they brought in guys like Barclay Goodrow. They brought in Blake Coleman, who helped out and solidified that grit that they were missing. All right. In free agency, they brought in Patrick Maroon, who the coach saw and really wanted and went after. And John Cooper, in my mind, I really think that he has one of the best systems in the league right now. He knows how to scout talent. He knows how to develop talent. And that's just the offense, guys. I mean, if you want to look and compare apples to apples, look at James Van Riemsdyk, a guy we pay big time money to. He's a career minus 37. Jacob Voracek, a guy we pay over $8 million. He's a career minus 16.
Wow.
Both those guys have a lot of points, okay? Over the years, James has over 524 points in this league. Jacob has 738 points scored in the NHL, right? And they're minus players. How is this, guys? How is this?
Wow. All right. See, that's why I said, man, I was blown away when I started reading this and I was looking at these numbers and I went, wait a minute. No, that can't be. Oh, wow. Gosh, that is right. Oh, geez.
Our fourth line center, Nolan Patrick, a guy we drafted number 2 overall, is a career minus 37, when their fourth line center, Johnson, is a plus 84. That's a big difference.
A huge difference, actually. I see.
This is why they win games night in and night out, because they go out there. Yes, they score goals, but they also get back in their own zone and play defensively. All right.
See, you said it right there. You said it right there. I mean, with most of the physicality removed from this roster, or completely discouraged by either the coaching staff or the management, you make such a great comparison to Tampa Bay. I mean, you need to have those players that can get back. That's all that Coach AV talked about, was those 200-foot responsible players. And he benched players who weren't playing 200-foot responsible games. Okay? So if that's what all you're clamoring for, here are some guys that can play that. You know what I mean?
Right. If you want AV's system to be successful, Chuck Fletcher has to go out and get guys that fit his system. Now, if we're talking defense here, guys, it's even more blatantly obvious how the Flyers have gone after offense. Provorov a good defenseman, but he's offensive minded. Sanheim and Myers are offensively minded defensemen. Shane Gostisbehere, offensively minded defenseman. Eric Gustafsson, who was a wrong guy to bring in this year, offensively minded defenseman. All right. Those guys, let's run through some of those guys compared to that of Tampa Bay. Okay. Provorov is only a +9. Now, he's been in this league for 5 seasons. All right. Victor Hedman is their number 1 guy, right? He's a +121.
But he's been in the league for quite a few years, though,
He's been in the league for quite some time. But over 5 seasons, Provorov, who we all are clamoring in Philadelphia as being the guy who needs to win a Norris Trophy, with those type plus-minus numbers, no. Who were guys that over the years won multiple Norris Trophy winners? I think a Nicholas Lindstrom. I think he's well into the 500, 600, 700 plus category in his career. That's how you win Norris Trophies. Ryan,
look at the current candidates.
Yeah.
Look at the current candidates right now for the Norris Trophy. They're huge plus players.
Right.
I mean, that's all you have to do is just look at the current ones right now.
And we look at who Tampa Bay went out and got when they thought that they needed defensive help. They went out and they didn't settle for somebody like the Flyers did when they went after Eric Gustafsson. They went out and overpaid for the player that they wanted. Not just found somebody. They went out and got the guy they wanted off of the roster, and that guy was Ryan McDonough, who is a career +200 player. Okay. Mm-hmm. They gave up a first-round pick and a conditional second-round pick and a slew of other prospects for this guy. They knew that they needed help on the back end to solidify their defense, and they went out and got the guy they wanted. Hands down, they were willing to give up the picks that nobody wants to give up a first-round pick. Well, I'm sorry. Look at the first-round picks we had, and we'll talk about a few of them in this next article too, with German Rubostov and a guy named Nolan Patrick. Look at the first-round picks. Look what they got us. Okay.
You can even go back as far back as JVR.
Yeah.
JVR was our most recent, best, highest first-round draft pick that we've gotten in most recent years. And even JVR, he's not even a plus player. He's a hugely minus player over the years.
We're targeting the wrong type players, and for too long now, okay? So Ryan McDonough's on the second line of their defense, playing the left side. We have Travis Sanheim, who does that for us, who was a -28 in his career so far. Myers is only a +2.
Wow.
They have Surchek, that's a +44. And we'll even go down to the third pairing, guys. Sergachev, who they, again, the Tampa Bay found via trade as a throw-in from Montreal, is a +44. And he's tough. He's rugged. He will stand up and fight for his team.
He's one of those types of players that we need.
Right. Shane Gostisbehere is a -31. All right. That's a big difference. They play the same role, the same position in their career. Yes, Gostisbehere scored a lot of points for us, but at what point does that matter when you can score 50 points a season, but if you're on the ice when they score 60, you're not doing the team any good.
Exactly. And especially if you're listed as a defenseman. As a defenseman, it's your job to be on the ice to keep the puck from going in. Or is that just me? I mean, I can't.
That should be your first job.
I mean, hello. Look, this has been going on now for the last few years. You touched on it right there. I think it started with Hextall, where these smaller, faster, more offensive-minded players have been drafted. I mean, or is it just me?
Yeah, and they're able to survive nowadays because the lack of physicality in the league, across the league right now. The only time it does get physical is at the playoffs. People turn it up, and I think that's very sad. If you're going to play that way, you should play that way through the 82 game regular season as well. Just my thoughts. That's why you get paid millions of dollars. If you're not putting out the same effort that in the regular season that you do in the playoffs, you probably shouldn't have a job in the NHL in my mind. I'm sorry.
See, that's the thing. Most of these teams that are playing this way are teams that are already that way, that have played that way throughout the entire regular season, are that way. I mean, when you look at the first couple of games in the first series there with Tampa Bay and Florida, and the number of hits that were in those first 4 games, it's mind-blowing. But then you look at the number of hits that Tampa Bay amassed over the whole entire season. Wow. All right. That's pretty bloody impressive. Right? I mean,
that's the thing. They went out in 2019. They were not that team. They were the team that would go out and score and beat you in the goal column. But when they came to the playoffs, they were physically manhandled, and that's why they went out and got Barclay Goodrow. That's why they went out and got Maroon. That's why they got Sergachev to come up and play. All guys that are very physical in the nature and could stand up and protect those star players.
See that, and that's the other thing too. Like I said, man, this has been going on now for the last couple of years, and with the drafting of some of the players that the Flyers have done, and we're going to get into this here in after we come back from our break, but some of the things that the Flyers have done over the last couple of years, and they're drafting as well too. I mean, now if you look at, say, Cam York, he's not the biggest guy on the planet, but he does play a bigger game, right? Because of his maturity and everything else like that. You look at Zade Wisdom and you go, well, he's not exactly, ducking to get through doorways either. Okay.
No, but at the same time, I wouldn't want to see him in a board battle either.
Okay, but he plays a much bigger game. Okay, so I'm giving you some examples of players that could potentially fill some of these roles that the Flyers are needing, that would try to bring them up to the likes of Tampa Bay, because Philadelphia's coming from kind of down here, like completely off the screen. You're 30th ranked in some of the categories. You
got a lot of work to do.
You got a lot of work to do. So, look, for whatever reason, this organization does not seem to realize that the only way that they're going to win a cup is with a physical team that cares a lot about the plus and minus stat. More players with a gritty edge are needed. Okay? Some players that can shoot the puck. I mean, how many times have we talked on this show about what this team needs in order to be a cup-winning team? Look, this latest article that you just posted, all of this information, all of this great research is all about that. Do you realize that? That we continually talk about the same thing, that what this team needs to do.
Year in and year out.
Riddle me this, Batman. What in the world is going on? I mean, can we stop this ride and get off?
Mediocrity.
Is that what this is? I mean,
I think we are just the team is just okay where they are, and they're settled, and it needs to be an explosion of sorts on the roster to break up this monotony that they're stuck in.
Look, I'm not trying to be a negative Nelly here. I'm really not. But I've seen over the last 10 years this cycle of continually bringing in this type of player that is constantly taking Philadelphia away from where they want to be. Even though they say they want to win a cup, they continually do things that seemingly take them away from doing that. You know what I mean? Like you're on a path and then you say, yeah, we're going to do this. And it veers you off the path. Well, it just seems like the Flyers have done that now year in and year out for the last 10 years since the last time they were, at the Cup Finals. And even then, seriously, he lets in a soft goal like that. And just like that, Philadelphia is packing their bags and they're hoisting the cup in Philadelphia's building. Are you kidding? And everybody was like okay with that. I mean, I'm not saying that everybody was okay with that, but you know what I mean. It's like maybe it's me. Maybe it is me. Maybe I'm just too emotional about this team. Maybe I care too much about what's going on here. I mean, that could be it, right?
Well, I think it's only going to get worse because the team doesn't have an owner that has a pure passion for this team and a love and undying, urge to get them back to where they want to be now that they're owned by a corporate organization.
See, that's what really seems to be, call him what you will, but Mr. Snyder was a true owner of the Flyers. He cared a lot about the things that he cared about. You know what I'm saying? And I've heard nothing but great things about what he has tried to do for the sport of hockey and for the city of Philadelphia. Okay. And so I do really have a hard time believing that everybody's okay. And what I mean by everybody is that management, ownership, coaching staff, players. Everybody's okay with this? You guys like playing golf in June? I get it. It's nice weather and all, especially in Pennsylvania, or wherever you retire to or whatever. June is usually a nice time of year. I get it. But, you want to make the big money. Well, you gotta play the big games. You know what I'm saying? And, I keep hearing all these things, but I don't see anything happening. I hear coaches say that you need to be a Flyer and you need to bring your big boy pants. But I'm not seeing that, and I'm not seeing that from everybody involved.
I think we'll get into more in that with the next article as well after the break.
Think so? You think so? See, I'm trying to set us up here. That's what I'm trying to do.
I think that's what you were trying to do.
Yeah, I think that's what I was trying to do. But listen, we're going to have a quick little break here because we're going to have a word from our sponsor. That's right, folks. Get them all lined up because here we go, man. The Canine Country Club Resorts is our sponsor. We appreciate all the wonderful aid that they do and all the wonderful things that they do and all their sponsorship for us and all their support. Really appreciate that. You can check them out on the web at www.cccresorts.com. You can also check them out on Facebook. The outdoor pool is open, so give them a call and get scheduled for some pool time for your pets. Also, you better get into the groomers too because they're pretty booked out. So you want to get your pets groomed up here too and get them looking good. So get a call in there to get them appointments set. So check them out on the web at www.cccresorts.com. We'll be right back after a quick message from our friends at Canine Country Club Resorts. Greetings. This is SteelFlyers from the SteelFlyers All Sports Network, and we have two very special guests. We are delighted to be joined by Tracy Musser and Nicole Howard from the Canine Country Club Resorts. Tracy and Nicole are both managers for CCC Resorts and work at the Windsor or at the club, one of two locations both in Manheim, Pennsylvania. Congratulations on your 30th year anniversary of being in business. Let me start off by saying this. SteelFlyers stands behind this company 100%. They've taken care of SteelFlyers furry friend for the last 2 years now, and they are a one-stop shop for everything your furry friend needs. In fact, let's find out what our friends at CCC Resorts offer. Nicole, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
Doing great, thank you. What are some of the great boarding services that you guys offer, and what do we have to do in order to get our furry friends taken care of when we are unable to travel with them?
Well, we like to bring everybody in for a tour first. That way they can see the behind the scenes, they can see where they stay, they can see where they play, and then we explain all of the fun things that we can add on to their reservation, whether it be one of our packages, either a nature walk, a ball time, or even a cuddle time.
Oh, wow, that sounds great. Boy, it sure sounds like a resort to me. So, how are you today, Tracy?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Tracy, tell me, is it true that you guys have both an indoor and an outdoor pool at the Windsor location?
It is true. We've got one of each, so we're able to offer year-round swimming. The indoor pool is a great option for dogs who are swimming for therapy or rehab. It's got that sloped entry so they can wade into the water. Our outdoor pool is a little bit larger, and it's 4 foot deep the whole way across. And both of them are saltwater pools, so it's really easy on the dog's skin and coat.
Wow, that's very awesome. So then during the summer months, you have a much deeper pool outside and then a sloped entry shallow pool indoors for the dogs. Tracy, tell the folks how we can get some pool time.
Well, the first thing everyone does is come for an intro swim. We use that time to make sure the dog is comfortable in the water. We make sure they know how to get out of the pool safely, and we go over all the pool rules and etiquette with the clients as well. After that, they're able to schedule private appointments where they have the pool to themselves, or they can invite friends and have a whole group swim going on.
So after a dip in the pool, then it would have to be off to the groomers, right? I mean, our furry friends cannot go out looking their best. Nicole, what are some of the great services your top-notch groomers provide?
Our groomers, they specialize in full service grooms. We can do the basics, whether it be just a bath and a brush out or a blowout. Or for the extra pampered pooches, we can do nail dremels, we can do deodorizing soaks, and also facials.
Wow, man, that sounds like a resort if you ask me. Tracy, I know one of the main programs here at CCC Resorts is the WAGS program. The Steel Flyers dog is enrolled in this program. So why don't you tell the folks what is involved in this and how they can get enrolled?
Yeah, the WAGS program is our primary daycare option at the Windsor. It's designed to be a structured program for people who are looking for a set routine for their dog. They all come on the same days each week, which allows them to have set friends, and we know exactly what's going on with each group. So we do a little bit more activities, and we build more into their daily routine there. But we've got other daycare options as well for people looking for a little less commitment. We do an hourly care where you can drop them off and just pay by the hour. We also do a day stay option, which is great for the dogs that prefer human friends instead of making friends with other dogs. And then we have a traditional daycare option as well if you're looking for the occasional outing for your dog.
Wow, there you have it. A full service groomer, a daycare program, and an indoor and outdoor pool. What more could you ask for? Sure seems like CCC Resorts has everything covered. Remember, DOG, depend on God. Thank you very much for tuning back in. Great big thank you to our sponsors, www.cccresorts.com, Canine Country Club Resorts. You can check them out on the web. They handle all of your daycare, spa, and pet needs, grooming, and pool time. Check them out. Thank you very much for your sponsorship. We very much appreciate that. We'd also like to give a little going on here, man. This article here is fresh. I mean, it's so fresh, it's still wrapped. It hasn't been delivered yet. It will be delivered probably before this show comes out. Okay. So this is a little pre-article, whatever you want to call it. But here we go. This article posted to Flyers Nitty Gritty here just today, this morning, whenever in your time zone. And I really got to say, man, I'm digging it. I love it. The title, Evaluating Flyers GM Chuck Fletcher's Early Offseason Moves. And oh my gosh, man, it's another home run, dude. Oh, yeah. It's another fine example of your writing talent. What can I say? Gosh. I mean,
Much
only the
appreciated.
best. Only the best here at Hockey Writers Inc. You know, that's what we're all about, bringing you all the best.
I pay him to say all this stuff, guys, just so you know.
No, really. He doesn't even need to pay me. Trust me. This all comes straight from the heart. I promise you that. That's for sure. But this is what I was talking about in the first segment, is that the integrity of your writing is the fact that you're capable of just coming out and saying it. I love it. It's so difficult to get somebody who, yes, you have passion for the team. Yes, you are a huge fan of the team. Yes, it's great when the team is winning. Okay? But you also need to be able to take off the fan glasses and put them down, right? And put on the writer glasses and put on the analyst glasses and go, okay, this is what's going on here with this team. Okay. And this article, you talk about exactly what you feel about your review of Chuck Fletcher's offseason moves to date. I would say wouldn't you say that's kind of about?
Yeah, that's definitely what it's about,
Okay.
for sure. And I just want to say, I don't want or like to write these type articles. I don't want to point out the things that the team is doing wrong. Obviously, I want to see the team succeed and do right and make the right moves. But I don't think that they're in that trend right now. As I said in this article, I think this offseason started out with a lot of excuses, guys. From Chuck Fletcher, from Vigneault, from David Scott, Comcast Spectacor's, chairman. I really think that blaming Canada, blaming COVID, blaming limited practice time, the organization had to deal with that stuff, yes. But at the same time, there's 16 other teams that figured it out and made their way into the playoffs this year. All right. I am tired of excuses, guys. I want to see something being done.
Do you know what? It's funny that you mentioned that, because when you listen to some of the other teams that lost, right, that are, also doing the same thing that the Flyers are doing, they're on the outside looking in. They're wondering what they need to do in order to get back to that particular spot. You know what I'm saying? And none of them said any of those same things. None of those coaches got fired because they said those things. I mean, maybe they should have gotten fired because they said those things. I don't know. It just, in this recent article, I tell you what, man, I really have to agree with you, though, for the most part. And the only real piece that he's added is Hayes. Okay?
Right.
I mean,
Chuck Fletcher was hired to replace Ron Hextall back on December 3rd of 2018. And to date, the only major piece that he has brought in to put a stamp on this team for any length of time has been Kevin Hayes. He paid him a lot of money, $7 million, to come in. But I don't even give him that credit to thinking about bringing him in. I think this was more of a move asked for, requested by Vigneault upon being hired to help him sell his system to these new guys and have somebody on the ice that can go and make these small corrections while they are just getting into it, on the ice. And I think that is it. Yes. Did he bring in Matt Niskanen? Yes, he did. A veteran defenseman from the Capitals, for sure. But what did he do to do that, guys? He gave up the only player that the Flyers had on their roster with any sense of physicality in Radko Gudas.
Yeah.
And what did Radko Gudas do this year, guys? He only led the entire league in hits.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And he played for Washington, right, for 1 year, and then got traded down to Florida.
Right. Well, I think he was a free agent. He signed down in Florida.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Which he was a right-hand shot defenseman that Chuck could have signed, along with a plethora of others.
Would have helped. Probably could have gotten him on the cheap too. I mean, because let's face it, he knows the system, he knows everything, and okay, I'm with you on this. It's so, like I said before, I don't want to be a negative Nelly. You know what I mean? But the only piece that he did bring in was Hayes. He did try to get Niski, but he retired. And Chuck really hasn't done anything else to put a stamp on this team. You know what I mean? And look, we talked about this on the last show. Like, I'm going to get into one of the other things that you addressed here in this article, and that was the fact that Ian LePerriere was hired as the coach of the Phantoms. I mean, you're basically giving me a review of Chuck Fletcher and what he's done since he's been brought in to replace Ron Hextall, right? So here's his opportunity to put a stamp on the Phantoms, right? And Scott Gordon was, let's face it, he was a pretty darn good coach for the Phantoms, okay? And I believe, I have no idea what was said. I don't, I'm not privy to any of this conversation. To me, this is all my speculation, but the guy wanted some term. I don't see why giving him a little bit of term would have been that horrible of a deal, especially when he had these youngsters playing at a Calder Cup level, You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. It raises some questions in my mind for sure. Scott Gordon and Kerry Huffman basically had this team finish second in their division in the Northern Division this year with a record of 18-7-4. That was pretty good. And at points this season, as it was short, they had them in first in their division, but Hershey came on strong. Now, if this decision was based mostly on Scott Gordon asking out of his contract because he believes that he is going to have a NHL level deal at some point be offered to him via AHL assistant coach spot or a head coach spot somewhere else, then great. Good for him.
Yeah.
But with that, Kerry Huffman left too. And I think that's as assistant coach for the Phantoms under Gordon left too. And I think that was a big loss as well. So the Phantoms with a plethora of young talent were left with no coach. So what did Chuck Fletcher seemingly do? He took Ian LePerriere and basically gave him a glorified demotion. He had no stones to fire him. And if you're saying, I like LePerriere for the player he was, although he played a short time with the Flyers, he was a quintessential guy that went out there and dropped his gloves and was willing to sacrifice his body on any given night, taking pucks to the face. And my God, bless him. He had to deal with some pretty extensive injuries and concussion symptoms after those, incidences. So all be to him on his just bravery in that sense. But since Ian retired from playing, he was given a director of player development for the Flyers job. Okay, he worked with all the young draft picks and checked up on them throughout their seasons and everything else, and really tried to be a leader and answer all their questions and help them try to gain knowledge in what they're actually going to be asked of them to be good pros and develop into being a pro one day. And he was great. He was great in that. He works well. He was a great, leader in the locker room in that sense. And I think he did great in that job. And so did the Flyers. So they offered him an assistant coaching job with the Flyers after some time and put him in charge of the penalty killing unit. Seemingly, that seems like it would have been a great job for him, being that he was such a great penalty killer in his time. But that obvious match didn't really work out, guys. He was having the Flyers ranked for multiple years at the near the bottom in penalty killing. So much so that he was basically this season relegated to serve as the team's pre-scouting coach and observe games from the press box. Basically, AV wanted him to just tell him what was in store, what to look out for when these teams that are coming up, and stuff, going to have, what players to watch on the other teams and vice versa, whatever like that. A huge demotion from being, on the bench on a every night basis and all that. So now, the team's in disarray and still is on the bottom end of the spectrum for most of the league in some statistical categories. And what do? Instead of outright firing him, they give him a glorified demotion and give him a head coaching job in the minor so that they can subsequently bring a guy in and replace him up with the Flyers. Do I think this will work out for him? Hopefully, I really do. I think he's better suited in working with the young players that are in the AHL and not the jaded stars that get paid way too much money in the NHL and don't want to listen to anybody like him who has been there and done it before. So that's my take on that.
You know what? We talked about this in the last show too. You know what I mean? The fact that because at that point in time, that was brand new news. That he was being hired as the coach at that point in time. So I've seen some things come out that says he's going to try to bring energy and everything like that, and he's trying to, get his name out there and get out there a little bit more as the the head coach of the Phantoms and all that, and that's all great. But I agree. I think losing Gordon and Murray or Hoffman were two big things that they probably couldn't ill afford to lose. And it just seems like these kinds of things keep happening to the Flyers, and they don't seem to replace them with anybody I'm not saying that Fletcher is worse or better than Hextall. Hextall was great at some things, but he had his flaws. Fletcher is good at some things, but he has his flaws. I mean, they all do. That's the way it is. You have to take the good with the bad. You know what I'm saying? But it's more along the lines of, well, can we handle more of the bad than some of the good? You know what I mean?
I think so, and I get what you're saying, and my take on that is to, but before being hired, Fletcher knew what he was brought in here to do, and he knew why his predecessor in Hextall was let go. And honestly, I think he's not done what he was supposed to do coming in here. He's basically going along the same path as Hextall in my mind. He came in and made some amazing picks and found some late round guys like Hextall could do that look to be some pretty good players developing on a smaller level in the AHL and the juniors still, but has not gone out and addressed the big picture here and getting guys at the NHL level that can come in and fix the problem and the solution now. And I think that what they need the most is that. I think they need to derail themselves from this haggard way of thinking and create a culture shock, create a big move, a big splash that is going to shake up this team. Okay. And really get them to open themselves up and bring in a guy or two with fresh light that is not going to just continue on in this mediocrity that they're in. Just this sense of, we're going to win this game and, we lost the next. So what? I'm tired of that way of thinking.
It's funny that you mentioned that. Because I agree. I think Chuck has drafted relatively well. He's done, he's done okay.
some questionable moves with Emil Andre and stuff from Sweden and a second-round pick. But
you know,
yeah.
for the most part, drafted okay.
For the most part,
know,
drafted okay. And we'll see in a couple of years when these guys keep coming. But definitely Forrester and Wisdom are already with the Phantoms last season, thanks to the OHL and stuff shutting down. But
and also Cam York as well too, and
Cam York is coming heavily. So
yeah, exactly. So I mean,
Mason Millman's made his pro debut as well. So things look good as far as the prospects.
Exactly. So, like I said, he's drafted well, but he hasn't done anything really to improve this team in a culture standpoint, in a way to improve this team to get them over the hump.
Hextall 2.0.
I mean, exactly. Hextall drafted well, but Hextall was more about the analytics, and Hextall, look, maybe in hindsight, maybe Hextall was right. Maybe Carter Hart would have probably benefited from a year down on the AHL. But unfortunately, at the time, I guess management didn't see it that way. Okay, and needed him to play at that particular point in time. And I can understand why they said that, because the carousel of goalies, that's not how you do it. You got to have a number one and a number two. That's just how it has to be.
And they had neither.
Exactly.
At that time, they needed him to step up.
Exactly, and he did. You know what I mean? And this is his first year of facing a little bit of adversity. Look, we touched on it before, and we talked about it in the past, and we've said it in many, many other shows. This is beyond fan. Okay? Because if you really want to put fan hat on, then you're already throwing bricks out the window at this point. Or actually, you've probably either disowned the team maybe, or I don't know. You know what I mean? But as a non-fan, and you look at this, it almost seems like it's keep going around in the same circle, and you never get off of this same circle because you never do anything to improve the circle that you're on. You just keep fitting in the little piece goes off, and you put in another little piece that's just about the same, so that you keep staying on the same circle.
Well, I think it needs to be a good mix of both, of what it was before Hextall, in going where the team went out and tried to get the best players out there that they thought would help the team. But I think they were at that time trying to reach for the wrong players. Guys like Vinny LeCavier, I loved him in Tampa and other stuff, but he was a bit long in the tooth at the time we got him.
Yeah,
and
he was
definitely
way past his prime.
And you can definitely name some others as well over the years. But
the list is lengthy.
But that mix, you need to target guys that can come in and then be, having some tenure still left in them. Going out and willing to give up a first-round pick once in a blue moon to be able to get a guy in his prime still. And that's hard to do, but they're out there, and teams have teams have done it. It is risky, but it's not as risky as doing that for a player that's 33, 35 years old for one more year, more push. You're getting a guy that can essentially, let's say that Seth Jones right now. He's out there. He's got a year left on his contract, and he's only 24, 25 years old. He's been in the league some time. But are you gonna take a risk at trading something for a guy that could play potentially another 10 seasons for the Flyers if signed? That's the kind of risk that I would want to weigh. Do I think that's maybe the best move? I don't know, but paying somebody like Dougie Hamilton $10 million, I don't see that when the Flyers only have $11 million total in salary. So it's not even an option at this point.
Okay, so you talked about this before, and so you said that a huge culture shock has to take place in the Flyers. To me, when you say that, That to me spells a new voice in the room. Now, that new voice in the room could be a new captain. That new voice in the room could be a new coach, could be a new general manager, could be new assistant coaches, could be new players. Look, this team has tried how many coaches over the last couple of years with the same basic core of players, and all they do is recycle coaches. And these coaches that they're recycling are cup-winning coaches. These guys know what they're doing. They know how to win cups. But if you don't give them the players to do the job, then this is kind of what you're dealing with here.
Yeah. And, as the article states, it looks like, Fletcher is just well on his way this offseason to us sitting here this time next season and hearing the same statement, which, Dave, from Comcast made, and saying, I can tell you it wasn't for lack of trying on Chuck's part. I don't want to hear trying. I want to see doing. And what I see is the same old, like you said. Now we're doing a little in-house cleanup in this sense. But come on, guys, drafting these players and then re-signing guys that have been in the system for 4 or 5 years now, German Rubostov, who was a first-round pick by the Flyers, a failed Hextall pick. In my mind, but why bring him back? The team tried him in the NHL level, and he didn't succeed at the AHL level, but they called him up when they got in some dire needs in the past, and he looked timid. He was shying away from pucks and everything like that.
Didn't fare very well either.
And he didn't do that. And the team saw this. And then they sent him overseas to the KHL, his home country, and to get a little spark back. And he didn't do that over there, guys. He had, 3 goals and 8 assists this season in 48 games played, or 46 games played. Come on. Why does this guy who was drafted in 2016 still deserve a contract? When you're looking at, he's a center, and you're looking at depth in the system already with Morgan Frost, Bunneman, Lazinski, Wisdom, Forrester, Jackson Cates, who we just signed. Okay, why not? If you're going to bring somebody back to add to that center depth of prospects, why not bring a guy back or sign a guy like Jay O'Brien, who was the team's 2018 first-round pick, who was only a point per game player this year in the NCAA for Boston University?
Yeah.
Why keep re-signing and re-signing and re-signing these guys who haven't done it at a pro level and continue to not progress, but yet not sign guys who are looking like they are ready to take that chance? I just don't get it. Why are you just wasting away and holding on to these prospects? Get rid of the ones that aren't working and bring in some new guys.
The whole fact that, we're continually seeing more and more missteps here. The whole issue with Sandstrom being re-signed, that whole issue where that turned around in 24 hours. I agree with you, the German and the Sandin re-signings. I don't understand those. These players weren't good enough contributors to even be with any of the affiliates last year. Why are you giving them a contract? Why haven't you been able to give a contract to somebody that's deserving of it, like Ivan Fedotov, the goalie from the KHL? Why can't you do that? See, these are the kinds of things that as an analyst you look at. Okay, you look at these little moves and go, well, gosh, what? Okay, I get it. They're not the big names, they're not the Ovechkins, the Giroux, the Crosbys. They're not those big moves. I get it. But see, these are the kinds of moves, right? That is what's part of building your team, right? And if you are constantly bringing in this type of player and not upgrading these types of positions and these types of players, then to me, I feel that he's not doing his job.
And that's what I see too. I see that he's willing to just keep letting these guys come back year after year after year. And, some of these examples aren't the best because some of them are young. Sandstrom's still young, but let him go overseas. The reason why he had such a problem this year is because he didn't get enough games in the net. Let him go start. Like Sam Urson from the SHL. He was over there. He played 40-some games over there. He's developed over there, and that's why the team signed him. Sweden seems to be talking with some guys over there that I'm friends with. They seem to think that the country itself thinks of him as a pretty high prospect coming out of there, but we'll see what he looks like coming stateside. But he's earned that right to come over at playing at the highest level in Sweden for the past couple of years, and he's been in the net. Since being signed, Sandstrom hasn't been able to be in the net. With you keep bringing back Alex Lyon and everybody else to plug into the net and not give these kids chances. So when Sandstrom said that he was going to go play in the Liga in Finland, great, go play over there, because you have Justerominko over here as well coming back next season. Now you have Sandstrom. Now you have Urson signed. And God, I hope they don't bring back Lyon, because that's just a goalie
wasting a roster space.
Wasting a roster space that is sitting there taking up a position where a guy like Ivan, like you mentioned, could come over, who's been excelling in KHL in the highest level outside of the NHL for some time. So at some point you have to be willing to part and get rid of these guys, but that's not what they seem to be doing. No. And is Chuck, the question is Chuck going to be doing this again this offseason? As far as the Flyers go, is he going to settle for guys, or is he going to go out there and try to change the team and try to change the culture?
Doesn't seem like it so far.
It doesn't seem like that so far with the in-house moves that he's managed to do.
So far. I'm with you on that. Look, what this team does this offseason is going to affect this team for the next 5 years. Because with the expansion draft and everything else coming up, look, I know they're trying to protect players and all that other stuff, and I get it. But I'm not getting warm fuzzies about what's been going on in Philadelphia here with this team. I'm just not. And it just, every year you look optimistically towards that October date, going, hey, every year, everybody starts at 0-0. And you just look and see that, well, gosh, we didn't do anything to fix the holes, and whatever was broken is still broken. And, it's like, well,
I believe in this team, and I believe that we're going to be, guys, that's not going to cut the mustard at year after year after year. If something's broke, it's not going to fix itself most of the time. So
you need to fix it, right? And you know what? Unfortunately, I don't think that the culture change that you think is going to be something that this current administration and or coaching staff is going to be able to do. And that's just my opinion on that. And I know what we're saying is not very popular. And I know what we're saying is very negative, Nelly, and I get it. Okay. But when you take off the fan glasses and you put on the analyst glasses and you put on the writer's glasses, you have to look at the facts. And the facts are overwhelmingly, glaringly I mean, overwhelmingly glaring at 30th in the league, 28th in the league for levels of play, for penalty kill, for power play, for plus minuses, for the fact that I just
and I hope he proves us wrong. I hope he goes out there and has a great offseason and makes some major changes. I think that the team is looking forward to the expansion draft. I think that they are hoping that they're going to take a big contract. Seattle's going to take a big contract in JVR or Voracek or Nolan Patrick off our hands. That's not a big contract, but it's an issue on the team, and I wouldn't be surprised if they end up taking a guy, maybe a defenseman, or even that, but that is lesser, but still has some talent in him, and or maybe NAK or somebody like that, like we lost Bellemare. And it wasn't a substantial loss, but it was still a player that contributed. And now look at him still contributing on other teams, playoff teams.
Yeah, playing for playing to be at the Stanley Cup Finals once again, because he did it when he went to Vegas.
Yeah.
When he got drafted for Vegas at the for the expansion draft, they went to the playoffs that first year. So hey, welcome to the So yeah, I'm with you on that for sure. Look. There's a lot of really awesome things that have gone on this past year. And one of the more awesome things that have happened was the story of Oskar Lindblom. And for those of you that don't know, Oskar Lindblom had a rare form of bone cancer. And he was able to lick after months of chemotherapy and, going through that whole situation. And Oskar Lindblom was up for the Masterson Award last year for the NHL. He was able to come back after fighting chemo and cancer and all that and dealing with chemo, and was able to come back and play in the playoffs last year in the bubble. Albeit to, maybe a goal or two and a little bit of a few assists here and there, but, not to his back to his normal self, but was able to play, So congratulations to Oskar Lindblom for this year winning the Masterson Award. And Lance, let me tell you something, man. I know that we love these types of stories. We were all like, okay, Bobby Ryan won it last year. You know what I mean? I really thought that Oskar should have won it last year.
I think that played a huge part in him winning it this year. I think the NHL probably heard some outcries over that, and I definitely like Bobby as well, a native of the area.
Yeah.
But what I think Lindblom was able to accomplish and stuff just is that much more uplifting that somebody could come back from that and just succeed at an NHL level. And he admitted that he's still not 100% yet, but he's still battling to get back to that. And that speaks volume, guys. When he was diagnosed, it is a aggressive form of cancer that he had to deal with, and where some people lose limbs even, and he fought it, and he was in really good shape at the time, and he beat it in a very short amount of time, and to come back even last year in the playoffs. I didn't expect that. That's for sure.
I didn't either.
I expected him, if he was going to be able to do it, to come back at the start of this season. That was something pretty special to see him get up to the bubble and be able to be inserted into the lineup. So that was just neat. Sure.
Very inspiring, very inspiring. So to see him win this award this year is huge. Congratulations to Oskar and to his family and everybody that's involved with Oskar and his camp. So congratulations to that. I also would like to say congratulations to, once again, Bleacher Report's, my man, 32 weeks in a row. Man. All right.
All right.
I guess we're pretty legit now, huh? 32 weeks in a row, right?
I guess, yeah, that's good. I'm seeing more and more views and listeners all the time, and people commenting on it. So that's great that people
Exactly.
are taking time out of their day to listen to us, and
Exactly.
hopefully, more and more people can catch some glances of my articles, and
That's why we're
really, really, really catch a liking to it. I'm
Yeah, man.
definitely down if you guys want to hit me up on any form of Twitter or anything like that, and I do answer questions and
Yep.
fan mail if you want to talk with me. I'm
Please
on there,
do.
guys. So
Yeah, please do. Please hit the like and subscribe. Please let us know what you think. If you have any comments, let us know. You can hit us up on Twitter. You can catch me on Twitter at SteelFlyers52. You can catch Lance at
LNGBASSIST, the numbers 39.
See, there you go. You can check us out there. You can check us out on the web at www.steelflyers.com/link/Hockey Writers Inc. You can also check us out on the YouTube channel. You can check us out on Facebook. So there's lots of places that you can get in touch with us to let us know what you think. And if you have any questions, by all means, shoot them out to us. We'll be more than happy to answer them. Lance, thanks for another great show. We got another really good one here for us. And I'm really excited about the upcoming things to come here for not only this show, but all the many shows that we have here on the SteelFlyers All Sports Network. So thank you very much for everything. We will catch you all on the next time. Thanks, Lance.
No problem, guys. Thank you.
We'll catch you on the next time of the Hockey Writers Inc. See ya.
See ya.